Hello, football today on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. You know, I don't usually start with a peek behind the curtains, but just to set the tone for what we have for you today. Lisi, who's not said much of a word to me on this day, that's happened, we're all going through it. 18 seconds before we go live. Hey, let me ask you a question. Patullo, he out? So that's what we got. That's what we got in store. He out, you're out too, pal. You and him, all right? Maybe go door to door looking for work.
A very somber pro football today. Very somber.
Hey, let me ask you, water wet?
Well,
You run that by you, sky blue?
Did you see the kid? Did you see the kid that got interviewed with Patullo? He's like a short order cook.
Hey, roll that TikTok footage we got stored.
That kid's great.
Oh,
stop.
my.
Listen.
What a week it was. What a week it was.
Terrible
we will cover
football.
it all.
Terrible football last
We,
night.
of course, have been together, myself and Joe, reacting to the Saturday that was. We'll get a little bit more into the Bears' incredible comeback, the Packers' collapse, the Rams' major comeback, and what it means for the Panthers moving forward. But this Sunday slate provided us plenty to get into, but I don't think, Joe, anything bigger than the defending Super Bowl champions being bounced in round number one, the second biggest favorite of this slate, closing as a 6.5 point favorite in places, proceeded to blow it in the fourth quarter. They allowed multiple Christian McCaffrey touchdowns in that fourth quarter. The offense, what do you know, stagnant as all get out after a decently hot start. Pathetic doesn't even begin to tell the tale.
Yeah, terrible performance, and this was lining up to be a dominating performance. They had the rest. They had a beaten-up San Francisco team, and a team that basically told you how to beat them in the loss to Seattle at the end of the regular season. You pound them between the tackles. You break their will. And in the first half, they utilized their workhorse, right? Saquon Barkley with 60-plus rushing yards on the ground. It looked like that was the way to get the victory. A.J. Brown did have some drops in the first half, but in the second half, you still expected Philadelphia to make the adjustments offensively and defensively, and they didn't do that. Offense, again, didn't put together a 4 complete quarter performance like we saw throughout the regular season, and they allowed San Francisco back in it. And a team that was basically dead and buried. Outside of Christian McCaffrey and Juwan Jennings, they were on basically second and third backups, and they allowed Demarcus Robinson to look like he was in his heyday back at college. It was amazing in terms of that performance, allowing him to abuse that secondary with Brock Purdy. I'm at a loss for words because, again, I did not believe that this would happen, Kev, in a playoff environment. Going for back-to-back Super Bowl appearances and titles. I thought they were dialed in. They allowed big plays in the first half. They buckled up. They got 2 turnovers, and they failed to capitalize. And Jalen Hurts in that offense, again, inconsistent and just absolutely pathetic in the second half.
Yeah, I think, again, pathetic is the right word, but, Joe, it goes far beyond yesterday's performance.
No.
The Philadelphia Eagles, through their first month, had a glaring issue in their offensive coordinator in Kevin Patullo. I cannot remember an offensive coordinator being a storyline this much of a season without a change in my entire life. And everybody knew that Patullo was a problem, and Nick Sirianni put his head down and said, we're not making a change. And at that point, then, if you're not going to make a change, well, you better be able to help the issue. And Sirianni could not do that either. It was an offensive masterclass in what not to do. And that was the case all season long. The Eagles scoring 2 touchdowns on their first 3 drives. And the 1 non-touchdown drive was a turnover on downs with a, again, awful 3rd and 2, 4th and 2 play calling combination. But they had not punted. 3 and out. 3 and out. 3 and out. Field goal. 3 and out. Field goal. And then the final drive. It was predictable. It was who this team has been all season long. Just magnified a little bit more because it was the postseason. A.J. Brown drops arguably back-to-back deep shots that, with the tone of this game, maybe could have iced the football game. The Niners hit their offensive ceiling in this, and it required a Jawan Jennings 45-yard trick play passing touchdown. And AJ, slow getting off the field, is being barked at by his head coach. That isn't something you do in the NFL playoffs. That's Nick Saban when Alabama is playing FC Upstate, looking to make a statement to his guys. You don't see that. That's not being a leader. And that type of environment is what Sirianni has cultivated for years now. And it's not worked. It's blown up in their face. I watched on that final drive Jalen Hurts give up on A.J. Brown after that third dropped pass. Said, I'm not going to him. He threw a go ball to Jahan Dotson instead of throwing it to A.J. Brown on the other side. And I'm not saying that's good judgment, but that is the environment that this group created. And if you sit there and say, Kev, my only issue with your breakdown is you thought this team could actually win the Super Bowl this year. I said going into this weekend that they would win the Super Bowl. I did say that because, I guess against all logic, I thought in the postseason they could turn it around. And really, Joe, I thought the path was laid out for this team. But it goes back to the regular season. The path was laid out for them, but they have no interest in taking it. The NFC East was dead a month into the season. It was a race on Thanksgiving. They gave the Cowboys life. The 2 seed was handed to them by the Chicago Bears, who played starters at home and lost to Detroit. Philly squandered that because they didn't want to run Tank Bigsby against Washington and let a season-high in pass attempts number fall on the arm of Tanner McKee. So again, they played a Niners team who in the first half lost their second-best player still standing in George Kittle. And it just didn't matter. The only guy you have to cover is McCaffrey, and they couldn't do it. It was pathetic. From day one to the final day.
That's it. It's over. It's over, and the nail's in the coffin now. That's it. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Everything was there. If I would have told you they held Christian McCaffrey to 48 yards on the ground, right, you would have said they would have been in. Oh, by the way, their workhorse got 106 yards, one of his best performances on the season, right? You would have said, oh, yeah, Philly dominates.
Won the turnover battle 2-0.
And you would have said, no problem. They win this game by double digits. But DeMarcus Robinson with 111 receiving yards, Christian McCaffrey 66 yards through the air receiving and 2 receiving touchdowns, and one came on a basic gimmick play from Jawan Jennings to Christian McCaffrey. I mean, you tell me. They were out-coached, out-schemed, and quite honestly, it looked like, now I don't want to say they all quit, but it looked like they were just walking through the motions. And I agree with you. A.J. Brown, listen, dive for the ball, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand there's wind, but you have an opportunity to put this team away. Give it 150%. I didn't see that across the board. And that does fall on Sirianni. He can rah-rah all you want, but you better get your team up to play. They better be dialed in from start to finish. And at the last drive, if Petulo's calling slants, and you don't like what he's calling, rip the play calling sheet out of his hands.
The only time the offense regained life, Joe, was after they lost the lead and Jalen Hurts had to run hurry-up offense down the field. And the second they slowed down, Tom Brady spent the entire broadcast going, it'd be great if they used tempo. It'd be great if they used tempo. The Eagles are playing in Chicago next week. If at halftime they said, Petulo, you go call the game. Brady is our new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, you're probably
on the fly, Brady would have been able to get them. If they would have, I don't know if Orlovsky was in the building. He could have had him DM the plays. Okay, he could have been sending them on Twitter. Ryan Clark could have sent them in. Emmanuel Acho could have. I could have let Lisi send them in. Acho. The only good thing that guy said in a 4-year media career is Petulo's lost. That's where we're at.
Unbelievable.
The second the game ended, sources tell me the Eagles will look at some offensive changes. Sources tell me the same thing because I watch the games. Thanks, D. Thanks, DR. Let me know who's getting the other bottle of tequila. We'll be right back. Good Lord.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
They have one more win than Chicago, and they literally beat Chicago in Week 17, and yet the Niners are on the road and the Bears are at home. Why? Because of an outdated rule that says, well, winning your division is the holy grail. Rewarding an 8-win division winner with a home playoff game is like giving the corner office to the guy who won the office fantasy pool instead of the guy who actually closed the accounts all year.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to open up Pandora's box, but I will say this. I do believe players that sign now, like Najee, should not be eligible now, but should have to sit out and come back in next year. It's just a slippery slope, and I agree with people like Tom Izzo. I don't like it at all.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Pro football today, back, calm as ever. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi, happy to have you here with us. Joe, should we give the Niners some credit for that win?
Yeah,
I didn't think so. Nobody cares. Buffalo, Jacksonville, what a game. No, go ahead. What do you think about San Fran?
I mean, listen, I give credit where credit's due. I mean, Shanahan did have a game plan in place to expose that secondary in the first half, and Christian McCaffrey does what he does. When he's healthy, he finds ways to get open in the receiving game, and credit San Francisco, heart of a champion. They stepped up, banged up. I don't know how far they will go in this run, but they beat up on a team that, you know, just didn't have the killer instinct, and that's the bottom line. As much as we love them, and I love them on paper, the Eagles didn't display the heart of a champion the way they did last year. They didn't want it as much this year. And I know it's on Patullo and it's on the play calling, but at the end of the day, even if the play calling isn't there, you will yourself somehow, some way to get that victory. And it's unfortunate that they couldn't pull it out because I think it's a wasted season and a foundation that I think looking back is like a missed opportunity. Because, again, I still think on paper they were one of the better teams in the NFL and were lined up potentially to win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, and instead they let a team that is essentially a zombie battalion beat them, who lost more guys. Now, listen, humble me. Niners preseason pick to win the NFC. They got life. They feel like they have no life is the problem. Joe, I don't know anybody out there who, I'm included in this, holds Niners futures and is thinking, path is clear. Now that they got through Philly, or, I saw something I didn't think I'd see. The only way they were going to get through was if Philly beat themselves, and that's exactly what Philly did. Look, maybe San Fran can go off and, hey, they just played Seattle. It could be difficult to beat a team so quickly, right, in short order like that twice for the Seahawks. Obviously, the team split the regular season meetings, but it's just the Niners. Here's, I think, the best way to put it into perspective. San Francisco's odds to win the NFC today are the same exact that I bet them before the year. And it doesn't feel like a mistake. No,
I mean, it's going to be an uphill battle, but I will say, even though they have to go on the road to Seattle, and it is Seattle, you have the Sam Darnold effect in that ball game. And again, big game Sam Darnold. And yes, he's performed to a capacity up until this point to get them the number one seed. He erased some of the negativity from last year. And defensively, Seattle is a much superior team to the unit that San Francisco is putting out there. But you do have a Super Bowl quarterback in Brock Purdy. You do have potentially an MVP or Offensive Player of the Year candidate in Christian McCaffrey that could take a game over. And any given Sunday, they have an opportunity to win that game. It's obviously 7-point dogs is not going to be easy going up against the number 1 seed. But we saw the number 1 seed last year, late 9.5, and lose that game by double digits, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, styles make fights. It's going to be very difficult how Seattle plays if they don't allow Sam Darnold to throw it 30 to 35 times in that game and limit, obviously, methodical passing attack and use the battering ram, Charbonnet and Walker.
Yeah.
They should win it and cover this game fairly easy the way they did in San Francisco. But again, you could go out there, and we've seen it time and time again, where all of a sudden, why aren't they running the football? And Darnold's got 2 interceptions on the first 2 drives.
I do think there is something dangerous about a pedigree team who still does have some stars. And look, the San Francisco 40, man, I'll tell you this. I heard this on the pregame show. Shanahan, every year he's made the playoffs, has gone to the NFC title game. Yeah, just misses it. So I was like, oh, boy. Shanahan has pedigree. Again, I mean, some of that pedigree involves blowing double-digit Super Bowl leads, but he has pedigree. And somehow, and God, it stinks. Like, it's not funny is not the right word. I guess ironic. That in a year where every superstar Niner's been injured, the one you worried the most about getting hurt has a record-breaking touch total, and he's just fine. Now, again, oddly, McCaffrey can't run the ball. Like you mentioned, the 15 for 48, not surprising at all. But he just, it's fine. There's 6 for 66, 2 scores in the air.
Checkdowns, he's wide open. Nickelback, linebacker, he's catching the football.
They get 8 yards every play
I know,
through the air.
It's just, that's why if you're looking at this matchup going on the road, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have to give, do you believe, because this game is won or lost for me,
okay,
on the offensive line. Can the offensive line, now Trent Williams came back, and they did an adequate job.
And remember, they didn't have Trent at all against Seattle.
Correct. Do you believe they could give Purdy time? If you do, then you take the 7 because, again, I think that's going to be wide open. I think it's going to be now. Don't expecting DeMarcus Robinson to be the go-to guy the rest of the way. I need to see Bourne get involved. I need to see Jennings. Well, here's the problem: they fed DeMarcus Robinson and McCaffrey. You could get away with that in one game against the top defensive unit or one of the top on the road. You better spread it around. You got to have Jennings more touches. You got to have Bourne more touches, and there needs to be more of a distribution. But we'll see.
But I think the worry, Joe, is even if the Niners, who scored 3 in that game against Seattle, can get it to 20, is that enough? Because of that defense looking like a concern. Let me ask you this, because we're going to be done with this game after this segment. But in all seriousness, right now, Kevin Patullo being fired feels like an absolute 1,000% certainty. Do you think Nick Sirianni should be fired or should be given another year?
I don't. Well, seeing how we went after AJ and just seeing where this team is and him not having control, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That is a problem because the foundation is there with Saquon, Jalen, Devontae. You want to take AJ out of the equation, that's fine.
Yep.
But those young defensive players need a coach that they can respect. And, again, I don't know what transpired on the sidelines, but that's not a good look. When the coach is losing his cool at his own players in that type of situation, not a good look. You're supposed to be been there, done that. I got this under control. There's nothing on the sidelines I can't handle. And in that situation, I'm a fiery guy. But those are the guys going into battle for you in the thick of it. And you don't call them out. You want to do that behind closed doors, fine. Not right then and there.
Sirianni getting a star offensive coordinator in sounds great until that offensive coordinator is hired away, like Steichen was, like Kellen Moore was, and you are in the same situation with a head coach who does nothing well right now for the organization. That is not how you would describe Mike Vrabel. Talk about it next.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
They have one more win than Chicago, and they literally beat Chicago in Week 17, and yet the Niners are on the road and the Bears are at home. Why? Because of an outdated rule that says, well, winning your division is the holy grail. Rewarding an 8-win division winner with a home playoff game is like giving the corner office to the guy who won the office fantasy pool instead of the guy who actually closed the accounts all year.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to open up Pandora's box. But I will say this. I do believe players that sign now, like Najee, should not be eligible now, but should have to sit out and come back in next year. It's just a slippery slope. And I agree with people like Tom Izzo. I don't like it at all.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're live with you right here. Pro Football Today. Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. Joe, Pats Chargers 16-3 final score. Did this total tick up a little bit throughout the week?
I saw I didn't see 44 and a half. So I could have sworn it was 45 and a half, right in that area, 46 and a half all week.
Because every other game, I was trying to figure out if this game was the outlier.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
The major move lost. Every other game's key move was a loser. This total, though, it did seem like it felt like it stayed flat for the most part. Maybe it dropped a little bit before kick. Look, nevertheless, New England wins it 16-3. What was your biggest takeaway from Pats Chargers?
Just, again, a grind-out, blue-collar victory that sort of, symbolized what Mike Vrabel is all about, right? You know, the Patriot way, something that they couldn't get done last year, obviously, in instilling a young team, and he's completely transformed this team. And it goes back to Harbaugh. Again, we talk about John, we talk about Jim. I thought Jim in this game would have the coaching advantage. And again, you had the quarterback advantage. You had the skill player advantage, and you're held to 3 points. I don't understand why coaches allow other teams to dictate the tempo for your offense. I just don't understand it. If Justin Herbert and that offense aren't obviously showing any type of rhythm, it's your job to create the rhythm. It's your job to utilize tempo. You just don't walk into what the defense says and allow them to just dictate the game plan. I'm sorry. You adjust. That's what that's what these coaches are being paid $10 million, $11 million. We're not paying them to just look dumb on the sidelines and say, game plan ain't working today. Game plan, can't help it. You got Justin Herbert, man. Yeah. I'm just saying, I understand. It's not the 85 Bears out there. Do something. It's your job. If the offensive coordinator's not making plays or not calling the right game plan, you're on the headset, man. Hey, change it up. I want to do tempo. It's not like, okay, we have 3 points. You're grinding out a game. You know you're not going to win that type of game. You're just not. You have the quarterback advantage. Jump up ahead. No, we're going to wait until we're down 16-3. And you know what? The bell finally went off. The game is signed, sealed, and delivered. Now we'll utilize tempo. I just don't understand dumb head coaches that fail to take over responsibility when the chips are in the middle of the table because they trust their OC or DC. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think, Joe, it's a double-sided coin.
Which is what?
In that the no. So when you watch this game, right, there's a lot of people who draw the conclusion the Chargers could do nothing. Like, what we saw was as good as it was going to get. And there's an element of that I understand in that their offensive line had been awful since, Slater preseason, Alton season. So I understand, right, Amari and Hampton not being healthy doesn't help. I understand. Okay. However, that's what are you paid for, right? Like, there is no way you leave that game, watch the film, and go, guys, literally, that's how it was going to look like. We could have played 8 quarters, 18 quarters, 80 quarters. That's what we had. You know who your offensive line is. There has to be something you can do about it. And this is the reality on Justin Herbert. Because this game, again, you cannot watch it and think the biggest issue is number 10. However, you could argue that yesterday was the best playoff game Justin Herbert has ever played. That is a problem. The 3 Herbert postseason performances, a 27-0 blown lead, a game where he threw 4 interceptions after throwing only 3 in the regular season, and then a game where they did not score a touchdown, had 3 points after they ran 7 plays in 2 drives inside the 11-yard line. That's going to fall. There were people saying Justin Herbert was one of the easy top 3 MVP candidates in football. Can't look like that. It cannot look like that. The Chargers enter the offseason knowing what they need to shore up. But if they then are fortunate enough to do that and enter the postseason, you still will wonder whether you want to or not. Is Justin Herbert going to be awful today? And that's still a hill he has to get over at some point in his career. We will zero in a little bit more on the Patriots side of this. Is this an encouraging performance? And their AFC East counterpart, Josh Allen and his Buffalo Bills, advancing past the Jacksonville Jaguars. All still to come right here on Pro Football Today.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
They have one more win than Chicago, and they literally beat Chicago in Week 17, and yet the Niners are on the road and the Bears are at home. Why? Because of an outdated rule that says, well, winning your division is the holy grail. Rewarding an 8-win division winner with a home playoff game is like giving the corner office to the guy who won the office fantasy pool instead of the guy who actually closed the accounts all year.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
It's going to open up Pandora's box. But I will say this. I do believe players that sign now, like Najee, should not be eligible now, but should have to sit out and come back in next year. It's just a slippery slope. And I agree with people like Tom Izzo. I don't like it at all.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
The New England Patriots winning the wild card matchup at home 16-3 against the Chargers, Joe. I think it is one of those games where you have to be, of course, happy to get a win right first without Brady and Belichick. You are on to the next round. I think a lot of people will believe that they are going to be given the more favorable matchup, right, relatively speaking, in this next round here. However, I don't think the Chargers defense is as good as it looked in that game. I am far less. I think the Patriots scoring 16 is a little bit more difficult to reason with than the Chargers scoring 3. I think it shows that this Pats offensive line is a concern, and I think it shows that this is a group who still probably does not have one single position player that they absolutely – they don't have an all-pro.
No.
Right now is a skill. Maybe Trevion gets there, Diggs at one point in his career. Hunter Henry's a bounce below that. It was a great win. But I don't watch that game and say, Pats AFC Futures, time to load up.
No, and Ramondre Stevenson, 3 catches, 75 yards. He averaged 25 yards per pass reception yesterday. I mean, come on. Keyshawn Boutte, you know I love the LSU guys. 66 yards. Stephon Diggs, two catches, 16 yards. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, again, can that carry through? I mean, is Ramondre Stevenson the next Christian McCaffrey? Is that what we're saying?
No.
So my point is, you know, you're going to need a much better effort. Now, Drake May did throw for 268.
Ran for another 66.
Incredible, right? You talk about quarterbacks tucking in and running, and Jalen Hurts, you still run? Just curious. I'm just saying, Lamar, you still run? All these guys? Drake May running, Herbert running. I'm just saying. I don't want to get. I'm just saying.
No,
poking the bear. Hey,
no,
Jalen, you still run?
I'm trying to make sure that I don't spend the whole show talking about the Eagles, so that's your fault, not mine. The Hurts rushing stuff. Jalen Hurts, every time he was asked about the rushing stuff, basically just said it's Patullo's fault. Hold on. I believe that when people are looking for what falls on Hurts is I think he just fully accepted and played down to the level of coaching that was going on. The idea of quarterbacks running is more about breaking script, going out on your own and making something happen, and it is as if Hurts had no interest in doing that. Like, I am not, for someone who probably is, backed Hurts more than anybody involved, Joe, I look at yesterday and still, Patullo fired, Sirianni fired, that's where I'm at. But Jalen Hurts isn't blameless. Jalen Hurts did not step up above the muck and get the Eagles where they could have gone.
Which I thought he would have done. They had one design run. He breaks it for 9 yards on the outside holding call. Never went back to it.
I don't know if the Eagles have ever picked up a first down after a holding penalty on a drive.
It's incredible. 2nd and 18, you run Saquon Barkley. Okay, all right. I mean, I don't know. You want to get Saquon the ball. How about a screen pass? I mean, he was catching the football. I'm just saying, other games. Here we go. Don't start. Don't start, all right? The Patriots, great win over the Chargers. It's all well and good, but there's storylines.
He's been waiting for this one all day.
Storylines need to be addressed. God.
Buffalo won.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
Well, Josh Allen did it again. Shakir, 12 targets, 12 catches. How about that? Wow. Bubble screen left, bubble screen right. We scraped Brandon Cooks off the street to get the game winner. Nice job, Buffalo. Great job. And that game, let me just say this. Trevor Lawrence, again, the highs and that he had for the last month of the regular season, with the game on the line, a terrible look. Right there. I mean, the guy's hit double covered. He's trying to go to the outside. Another brain-dead quarterback. Like, at the end of the game, you have 50 seconds left, and he wants you to have no timeouts. He's throwing it over the middle of the field to Jacoby Myers, nonetheless.
Sure.
I mean, how about Brian Thomas? 2 targets the whole game. Parker Washington, we just resurrected. This is it. Best wide receiver in the history of the NFL. We scraped Parker Washington off the street. They can't. Liam Cohen designed this. That's it. Parker Washington, 46 touches, 247 yards, and you lose the game by 3.
So,
and I one more thing. I'll tell you why. Liam Cohen, that reporter was light on you. They should have had me in the thing. I mean, great job. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You were in your building with the game on the line, and you blew it.
That's how I usually console Lisi after he has a bad batting day. Hey, head up. You've had some great years. You've had some great bets. And you'll have great bets moving forward. I usually console you just like that.
Coaches, they can't take criticism. They can't. You're getting paid $10 and $11 million to coach football, guy. Like, really? Come up with something that we haven't seen before.
All right, since you're talking coaches, I want to just do this very quickly. The Bills should fire Sean McDermott before the next game. And a lot of people are going to wonder why. And it's not because he didn't take a knee before the touchdown that gave him the lead. It's because of how they got the touchdown. This guy tried to ban the tush push. I need a head coach who's self-aware. And the Buffalo Bills, no team relies on the tush push more than the Buffalo Bills. And he tried to get the tush push banned. That lacks self-awareness.
I know.
You can't win with that.
Let's just carry Josh Allen. I mean, that rule's got to go, too. Now, we're making running back.
They threw him.
I know.
They threw him.
They picked him up.
Like he was crowd surfing offensive linemen.
I have nothing against the Bills, but at the end of the day, I here's the thing. It was a great game.
Why'd you have to be on Jacksonville?
It wasn't even that. I was on props.
It didn't help, though. You said props. Jacksonville on the show.
Look, I said a lot of bad things yesterday on the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
But Saturday's performance was phenomenal.
Cut it out.
It was. Why? I had Street Ball Williams and I had the over. No?
Well, listen, I tell you what. I had a couple of great bets. Like week 13, I had a good card.
You see, now that's it.
What?
So we're only as good. We know it's this business. We're only as good as our last ticket, which was terrible. Listen, I lost everything yesterday.
I was hot with the props in the CFP semifinal. Let me just. In all seriousness, my biggest takeaway from Buffalo-Jacksonville is this game fully displayed why people keep talking about Josh Allen needing to get it done against these AFC quarterbacks, against this crop. It's not that Josh is incapable of winning games against Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow, although the evidence so far in the postseason actually says he can only be one of them. It's that the lack of pedigree and the lack of trust you have in the rest of this field in relation to Josh Allen is likely a historic gap that you'll not come across again. Trevor Lawrence looked exactly how you thought Trevor Lawrence would look. He threw multiple interceptions. He couldn't make sure he slid for the first down on a pivotal fourth down go-for-it call that Liam Cohen went for. They overused Lawrence, by the way, completely. They should have been pounding. Bashal Tutin's 4 for 51 performance. I mean, somebody must have put a phone call in to stop those carries. You can make no sense of that. And it goes beyond that, right? Josh Allen is now, we know, Joe, playing Bo Nix in the first round. Played Bo Nix last year. There's a massive gap, right? Even if Josh Allen has to play Drake May in round 1, it'll be Drake May's 3rd ever playoff game. And Josh Allen, I don't even think Josh Allen was all that great against Jacksonville, quite frankly. He scored 2 rushing touchdowns, and he had a really good throw to Brandon Cooks, who was wide open, but it was a good play to get it there. Did you think you were watching the best of Josh Allen yesterday?
No. And again, Jacksonville, again, a team that had everything for the taking right there at home. They ran the football effectively, didn't really go back to the run, I didn't think, as enough when the game was on the line, and their star quarterback failed to make plays. And Josh Allen does what Josh Allen does when the game is on the line. He pulled it out, right? If you have to take the game to the Bills and bury them.
Yeah.
And They had an opportunity, and they let the foot off the gas.
No doubt about it.
I believe that.
No doubt about it. Let's settle in here. It's a Pro Football Today, and it's right here on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk.
Who are we looking at? We're looking at SGA because of his availability and consistency. It's Jalen Brunson due to his usage and his leadership. It's Jaylen Brown for how they're playing. It's Cade Cunningham because Detroit's in the top of the East. The MVP talk is going to be wild, and it'll be interesting to watch. MVPs just don't dominate. They survive the season.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers get their touchdown, and they miss the extra point. It was Lamar Jackson who made the plays to get the Ravens into what should have been easy field goal territory. So explain to me how in the world we can look at last night's game as, well, there you go, can't trust Lamar Jackson.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and
Back right here on Pro Football Today, Kevin Walsh, Joe Lisi. We're going to just kind of peel back to the Saturday slate that was. If anything just kind of resonated. But just on Buffalo-Jacksonville for another second. For you, Joe, because it was a frustrating game to watch, right? There was just a lot of, I don't know, some of the execution of it all.
Flow. I felt like it was choppy.
I don't disagree.
Choppy,
I don't disagree.
Choppy game flow. I mean, the score will suggest otherwise, but it was choppy game flow for much of the game.
But as someone who I think was, in my opinion at least, you were high on Buffalo throughout the regular season. I thought you usually felt like they were in a good spot. Did you leave this game feeling much better about them moving forward in the postseason?
No, I think in order for them to win an AFC championship, they're going to need Josh to do unbelievable things. And 300, 275, another 40 or 50. Again, they win that game yesterday without James Cook being a factor for the most part. I think that's,
yeah.
Sometimes you want to slam McDermott for overutilizing Cook and not utilizing your quarterback as much. Okay, they went to the weakness of Jacksonville and they exploited it yesterday. But moving forward, I need to see more. I still need to see more. I don't feel confident knowing, oh wow, Josh got this victory on the road and all it's smooth sailing to the AFC Championship. I still think their defense is vulnerable. I think their defense is vulnerable against more run-heavy, offenses. I think certainly there's a number of different teams that could exploit them that are still left. And I think that ultimately will be their Achilles heel and why potentially maybe they don't make it.
I think for the Bills, look, some people take these things not game to game. They're either locked in from the preseason or right before. But I think Buffalo is a very game-to-game team, and I think the best thing is, I don't know if everyone's going to agree with this, actually, and I do not think were given A-plus Josh Allen yesterday.
No, he was...
But I'm saying that means that could still be in the tank, and I think that could be very, very good for Buffalo. So, Joe, just looking back towards Saturday, the Rams and the Bears, I want to say something on the Los Angeles Rams, actually in relation to the Buffalo Bills. People have said that the Bills have to have it, they have to have it. I actually think that's a far better description of the Los Angeles Rams, more so than the Bills. The Rams are the team who have a quarterback that this offseason we thought, because of his back, would be lucky to play games. Mm-hmm. They have a quarterback who's at an age where how many more years do we expect Stafford to retire? I would genuinely say it's on the board he retires at the end of this season, especially if they go the full way. And I know people will say, yeah, but don't worry, they have McVay. You remember, Sean McVay was considering going to the Amazon booth a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think Sean McVay is going to be coaching into his 50s.
No.
I don't. So for the Los Angeles Rams, you know you have a competent division. Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDonald as rival head coaches, and who knows if Arizona can get their stuff together. The path clears out with Philly losing, who has just flatly had their number. It does not matter, good, bad, or indifferent. The Eagles have completely owned the Los Angeles Rams. They're out of your way. You have another position to be a road favorite here, and you are either going to get a home game against the Niners or go to Seattle, who you've beaten and you nearly smashed in their building. Again, this Rams core, I don't know how long it's around. I think not Buffalo, I think the Rams team has the most pressure on them and the clearest path. They have to get this done.
No, they do. And again, when we talked about that game leading up to it, I felt like their defense has been exposed. So, again, are they dominant? No. Can Stafford carry them the way Josh Allen can? Sure. You got to protect them, and you have to give him a clean pocket. I think when you look at the rest of the field, knowing what's left, obviously the game's not going to be easy against Chicago. Chicago now bouncing back into form. They're the cardiac kids. They're the young guns, right? And this group for LA has a limited window. It's do or die, but you have to seize the opportunity. You have potentially best wide receiver in Puka Nacua. Devontae Adams did come on in the second half of that game when the game was on the line. As long as you protect Stafford, you give him the obvious quarterback advantage over Caleb. But you're going to have to win this game, and you're going to have to take the game to a very physical group in Chicago that has been punching teams in the mouth. And if we're looking at the performance against Carolina, that Carolina did not play well. I did not believe. Mm-hmm. And you had to pull that game out in a fourth quarter drive with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
You play that way against Chicago, you're going to lose.
So it's tough because Chicago has set themselves up as they're alive no matter the situation because of just how crazy the comeback was against Green Bay. What I still wonder about Chicago is what lessons will they take away from the game against the Packers? Because sometimes teams get in that slop and are like, this is great. We're confident. And I think that can be the wrong lesson, at least to me. Can I ask you quickly, Joe, about the two losing quarterbacks in Jordan Love and Bryce Young in those games?
Yeah.
Do you think that each of their teams should feel good about them being their starting quarterback next season?
Got to feel good about Green Bay. I think the problem with Green Bay is, as good as Christian Watson is, can he stay on the field for a 17-game season? You got to still get, and I know they've tried with Jaden Reed and Matt Golden, but the inconsistency from week to week, you can't rely on these guys.
It's Golden's best game of his career, though.
It was, but again, you look at the body of work throughout the regular season. He's the invisible man sometimes. Now, as part of that, LaFleur not game planning him, I don't know. But all I know is, again, Tucker Kraft will be back in that offense next year. Josh Jacobs will be. You got to feel confident about Love. He's getting paid $55 million. I do not feel confident about Bryce Young. And I've been a big Bryce Young guy. The problem that I have with Bryce Young is simple. You can hit a 40-yard post pattern to Tet McMillan, but then 5 10-yard outs on 3rd and 8 you can't hit, and you're wildly inconsistent. I can't have that. I can't have that. You know, he looks confident at times when he actually comes through, but I don't even know if he believes that. You know what I mean? He doesn't have that mental resolve where you say it, game's on the line.
I think he actually has the mental resolve.
Do you?
I unfortunately just don't think his skills have translated. I understand the arm strength doesn't seem to be there. The accuracy doesn't seem to be there.
The accuracy is terrible.
But he seems like he's just I think he's a go-getter. I think they believe in him, but he doesn't seem to have actually. It sounds crazy for a guy who went first overall. He doesn't seem to have all the talent.
He doesn't have the swag that Caleb has.
No, but that's different. I hear what you're saying, though. Let's continue to break down some of these big games on Pro Football Today.
looking at? We're looking at SGA because of his availability and consistency. It's Jalen Brunson due his usage and his leadership. It's Jaylen Brown for how they're playing. It's Cade Cunningham because Detroit's in the top of the East. The MVP talk is going to be wild, and it'll be interesting to watch. MVPs just don't dominate. They survive the season.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers get their touchdown, and they miss the extra point. It was Lamar Jackson who made the plays to get the Ravens into what should have been easy field goal territory. So explain to me how in the world we can look at last night's game as, well, there you go, can't trust Lamar Jackson.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Pro Football Today. What do you say? Little primetime preview here, Lise. Little Texans, little Steelers.
Looking forward to it. Big game.
I'm trying to opt out of this game like a college player.
Are you?
Come on.
What?
With these Monday games.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Is it?
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. All right, go ahead. Sell me.
No,
sell me. The whole game is a sell me something.
I can tell you this.
Oh, no.
DK Metcalf,
Smash.
Nico Collins.
I like him.
Take them off your thing. Just take them off. They got no shot to go through their numbers tonight. No shot. This is Janu Smith, Calvin Austin,
Jalen
Noel, and I think I scraped up Adam Thielen. I think one of those guys are going to have a go-to night. It's just been that way throughout the playoffs. Go through, Parker Washington, DeMarcus Robinson, Yeah.
C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud. Yeah.
Should we take Stroud under attempts?
There you go.
They don't want to throw it.
Yeah, everybody's number one. DeMarcus Robinson was a number one yesterday. Did you know that?
Oh, you're very upset about DeMarcus Robinson.
Just scraped the guy off the street.
Well, he had a big day.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Who do you like to score? Come on.
Janu Smith.
Come on.
I do. Tight ends. Washington's out. Janu Smith.
You like Jalen Warren to score?
No.
Okay.
No. I like Hutchinson.
Connor Henward?
No. Hayward. No. Xavier. Xavier Hutchinson, Adam Thielen, and Janu Smith. One of those guys is scoring tonight. I'm serious. Yeah. There you go.
You like Ben Skoranek, 55-1?
No shot.
How about Rodgers?
Nah. I like his rushing total, 5+.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, 5+ is like, I believe, plus 168.
Oh, it's a half.
Yeah.
I like the under.
Do you?
Yeah, it might be your best bet.
All right. Okay.
Let me cap this.
There you go.
Let me. He had a 20-yard run against Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he got that far.
Yeah.
You think they used Woody Marks tonight?
Probably, yeah. Nick Chubb 7-1 and score a touchdown. Here's the thing. I have no again, we talk about how DeMeco Ryans coaches games on the road and at home. He might score on the first two possessions, but somehow, some way, Pittsburgh will catch him in the end. They have the quarterback advantage. I don't believe their defense is as good, obviously, as Houston.
Yeah.
But I think with Rodgers in the game, they'll be a little bit more aggressive. I don't think Arthur Smith will be able to handcuff this team. the way he did last year again with Russell Wilson. I think Rodgers will sort of oversee that, and I think they pull it out. What's that big thing? They haven't lost a game since, 1990 on Monday night? Watch.
At home?
At home or whatever it is. Yeah.
Maybe Rodgers. I don't know.
I think Rodgers does have a big day. But if we're talking quarterbacks, you would think C.J. Stroud. But again, I have no confidence in DeMeco Ryans wanting to open up the offense. I know they have one of the best front sevens, and that's all well and good, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But in a playoff type environment, you need to have a killer instinct. You need to have a killer offensive instinct to stick the fork in your opponent. And unfortunately, time and time again, DeMeco Ryans has handcuffed this team, allowing oppositions back in games. And sometimes they win when they play inferior opponents in a playoff environment. I think they get caught by Pittsburgh.
I think this Texans defense is still for real. And I think this Steelers defense has been awful throughout this season. And I think what I'm struggling with, though, is does this Steelers defense have a performance in them? Do they have the ability to meet this moment and give the offense a chance to make enough plays here? That's what I'm really struggling with, because it's been bad. It's really been bad all year, So I think if they go out there and have themselves a game, that would be very impressive. But there is not a lot of evidence that suggests they're going to be able to do that.
Right. And again, if you're Pittsburgh, you're taking away, which I believe is not a dominant rushing attack with Woody Marks and Chubb. You're looking to take that away. And again, I'm still on the road in my house. I'm forcing C.J. Stroud to beat me over the top. And, yeah, he could do it one or two games in a given, season, but he's been handcuffed by this head coach. I'm sorry, he has. Go throughout the season. And, yeah, they put up 20-plus points by Indianapolis, and that was an Indianapolis team led by Riley Leonard that challenged that defense all of a sudden. So what is Rodgers, a veteran, making his last hurrah, and he's got the home field? I think he lets it fly. And, again, I think they jump up early, and, again, that's where Houston is at a huge disadvantage with DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah, I think the coaching element is probably one that isn't maybe focused on enough, because the pedigree here in Tomlin's favor is not insignificant. And I think that that's a good point by you. For Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh, Pro Football Today.
Maybe the fact was that the kicker just blew a 44-yard field goal. Now, by the way, I feel horrible for this kid, Tyler Loop, who made every single field goal this season 44 yards or less. But the extra point that was missed just before that by Chris Boswell was the only extra point that he missed all season long. So did they bless that same holy water when Boswell missed the extra point? Come on, guys. Let's get it.
Newswire. Only on Grid.
They have one more win than Chicago, and they literally beat Chicago in Week 17, and yet the Niners are on the road and the Bears are at home. Why? Because of an outdated rule that says, well, winning your division is the holy grail. Rewarding an 8-win division winner with a home playoff game is like giving the corner office to the guy who won the office fantasy pool instead of the guy who actually closed the accounts all year.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's going to open up Pandora's box. But I will say this. I do believe players that sign now, like Najee, should not be eligible now, but should have to sit out and come back in next year. It's just a slippery slope. And I agree with people like Tom Izzo. I don't like it at all.
College basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.